So nobody have any question. Anybody had a life this week? Everybody was just waiting to be taught today, huh? Okay. So I've said over and over again that our battle is a spiritual battle. It's definitely, without a doubt, a warfare between good and evil. It has nothing, zero to do with color, race, male or female. It's not physical one iota. And the interesting thing is that the warfare is happening inside of us, in the mind and in the emotion. It is seriously happening there. And then it is happening in the world, but outside of us, inside of other people, in their mind. And it's evil. Anyone that has anger is evil. They're pure evil, and that's what has to die if you want to be free. And it will and it can die. And the deception of the ego, of the intellect, is mind-blowing to me. The devil has played so many deceiving tricks on us that you're not going to know it until you start seeking you, until you start looking at what's going on inside of you. You're not going to know he's tricking you. Because if you're not seeking, even if you heard about it from someone else, you're not going to believe it. Unless you were trying to return to the Father. Unless there was something in you that had already reminded you that something is wrong with you. It is, I don't know what it is you might be saying, but something is wrong. Then when you hear the truth, it will turn on a light. And you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And that's the beginning. But the devil has played such an ego trip, it's mind-blowing to me. One of the things that I interviewed a nice man, it ain't person, but a nice man, a preacher on the radio show this week. And we talked about anger. And he said that I asked if you have anger. He's like, yeah, I have righteous anger. He has righteous anger. And I hear that a lot from the Christian people. They have anger, and they call it righteous anger. And they say, well, Jesus Christ was angry. And so because they're angry, they think it's the same type of anger that Jesus Christ had. They'll associate evil anger with righteous anger. And the devil has tricked them with that. That's why you can't trust the intellect at all. The devil has told them that your anger is the same as Jesus' anger. It's righteous anger. And so I said, give me an example of what you're angry about. Well, if a woman have an abortion, killing a baby in the womb is wrong. I get angry about that. They call that righteous anger. Or they say the transgender thing. I'm angry about that. They say this and that, but they never describe what righteous anger is. They're still describing evil anger, the anger of the devil, calling it righteous anger. It's mind-blowing to see it, but I understand it. So I understand, I totally understand it. You don't know the trick the devil play on you. This is why when you learn stuff, except practical, don't even hold on to that really. But when you learn stuff, don't hold on to it. Let it go. Don't identify with knowledge, even knowledge from the Bible, because you hold on to it, you will be deceived by the devil. Anger that human being has is not righteous anger. It's not even your business if a woman decides to kill the baby, the man's baby in the womb. That's between that woman, the daddy of the baby, and Satan. And you don't have a right to be mad at anyone because they do what they do. If everybody in the country wanted to just cut off their body parts, and the body parts all land in the streets, it's not your business. Why would you be mad about what someone else does? That's judgment, and that's evil. God's not mad at them for doing it. Why are you mad at it and call it righteous anger? I want you to know that you don't know what righteous anger is. is not what you think. That's another trick of the devil. It's so interesting to hear it though. And then some of these people married and they have family, or they're not married, in their private life they'll catch a hell with anger. The spouses are fighting one another. The husband can't deal with the wife, but they call it righteous anger. Anger, in God, there are no feelings. There's no judgment. There's no fear. There's no revenge. There's no nothing. You're just 100% free. There is no thinking. All thoughts disappear when you're one with the Father. All thoughts disappear. So I want you to know that. Another thing, I saw this, somebody's been recommending this movie. Watch this movie. And it was called
Nefarious.
Nefarious. Anybody seen that? Nobody here seen it? Really? Y'all heard about it? Oh, really? Well, people call my show and suggest I see it. And just like they did with that other movie I finally watched. Before I respond to that movie, Sean, you saw it, right?
Yeah.
Did you see it, Doug? No. You saw it, Hate? No. Oh, okay. You didn't? I'm sorry?
No, I haven't.
Amazing. I understand. I totally understand. What did you get from it? What was your impression about it?
Well, first of all, it's kind of a relief to watch a movie that doesn't have too many like cut scenes and edits. The entire movie takes place in one room, just between two people, and the only cuts are between the two people.
Right.
And it's all about the writing and the performance. Like, it's some of the best acting I've ever seen. Really, the one guy, if you haven't seen it, he sort of plays two different parts at once, and it was really, really well done. They talk about a lot of the same stuff that we talk about, being possessed, how you're not in control, and I thought it was really good. I'll probably rewatch it at some point. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to watch it 100 times. I'm just playing, not 100 times, but I am going to watch it over and over again. Anything else you got from it?
Yeah, there's a phrase I really like. When people say, like, "Oh, I found myself doing this." Like, before I knew it, I found myself doing this, that, or the other thing. Yeah. That's such a deep phrase for me. I don't fully understand it. I think it could probably mean something negative or something positive. Like, I found myself doing this in a bad way. Like, right. I was influenced to do it, and before I knew it, I found myself doing this. Or it could be meant in a positive way. But that movie just lays that concept out perfectly. The guy is possessed, and before he knows it, he finds himself doing this, that, or the other thing, but it's not him.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's what I thought about.
I didn't realize it was all in one room. Yeah. Two guys sitting in a room. They have a little outside of the room action too, but it's not much. But it was so interesting. I didn't realize until right now it all took place in one room between two people.
Right, and that's the good stuff as far as movies go for me.
I forgot about that. After watching that movie, if you're not convinced that you are possessed with evil, ain't nothing else going to convince you. There's nothing to convince you. You might as well go die. Every human being is possessed with evil. Every human being. There's not one that's not possessed with evil. And evil tells everyone the same thing. It does the same thing to everyone. It causes you to react. Everybody reacts in the same way. And everyone thinks it's them. And evil has so many personalities, identities inside. Every human being has, I would estimate maybe even more, at least 60 to 70 different personalities, different spirits inside of you, and you call it your own. That's why overcoming the ego, there are layers and layers and layers and layers of identities you have to overcome. Never think that you've overcome. Because if you think that you're overcome, you have not. Overcoming, there's no more thinking about it. And in this movie, they show layers and layers, different personalities of this guy. He would get intellectually smart like the devil. And he would just quote out devil stuff. But it seemed like it was smart stuff. And then if something else happened, his personality would switch. Just before he was being executed, I hate to tell y'all what the movie about, but I'm gonna tell you. Because it's so deep. This guy, he was a murderer. He murdered a lot of people. And then he realized he was possessed, that it wasn't him, that it was something else making him do it. He didn't want to. And so when this psychiatrist went to interview him just before he was put in the lecture chair, they had to do one last interview of him before he was put in the chair to be electrocuted. Because they asked him which did he want, to be electrocuted or die by lethal injection, but he chose the chair because that's more
Painful.
And it made sense. And the lawyers, the psychiatrist said, well, you gonna die? He's like, no, I'm not. He's like, you wanna put it? Yeah, but I'm not gonna die. I can't die. I'm not dying. You may fry my body and you may do this and do that, but I'm not dying. There's no such thing as death. And then, in essence, and then he, you know how they offer you your last meal? Anybody about to be electrocuted, they offer you your last meal and you ate and then they call it out? Nobody here? Now y'all went to the chair? And they asked, and he had gone into a different mode, like a sad human, what we would call a human mode, right? You feel sorry for him. He like, what do you want to eat? Milkshake.
Cheeseburger with a milkshake.
Yeah, a good cheeseburger with everything well done. I want a milkshake. And he was looking at, I want a milkshake. And I want it really thick and chocolatey and milkshake. And then the guy said, oh, okay. And all of a sudden he's like, I don't want anything. The guy said, you're gonna be electrocuted. You don't want to eat before you No, nothing. He just had another personality, just like, you know how people switch personality all the time, right? Y'all, anybody ever done that? Switch the personality just like that? I can't hear you. Yes. Yeah. Give me an example of you switching personality all of a sudden.
It happens all the time with me, like being fake nice, being, you know, you have a thought of something depressing that's going to happen the next day or later on today, but then someone comes talk to you and you want to hide it.
Those are good examples, man.
Yeah.
Fake nice, then you try to hide. Those are demons inside of us. Those are not you. Those are fake personalities. And this guy demonstrated that so well. You have to be drunk, crazy, blind, and crippled not to get it. And then he tricked this psychiatrist. He told him, I set it up. Because he had been interviewed by other psychiatrists while in prison. They were trying to determine if he was mentally ill or did he know what he was doing. Because if you prove you're mentally ill, you can't be electrocuted. They can't be put to death, right? And he treated all the psychiatrists. And he told them, this one guy, the last guy, I did that so I could get to you. I got rid of all those other psychiatrists so I knew you would be coming. And the reason I want you because I want you to write a book about me. About him, right? And this guy would go into it like a baby, innocent pose. He would snap out of it into like, oh, don't hurt me kind of personality. He would snap back. And he knew that it was the demons that was working through him. He knew it because he was a demon. He's like, I'm evil. I am evil. And he mentioned that everybody is evil. But then Christ came. That's the one thing that he was disappointed about, is that Christ tricked him and died on the cross. If he had done that, everything would have been just fine. Meaning that there was no way out for you to overcome the hell that's in you. And so he did go to the electric chair, and he made that guy watch him being what do you call it? Crucified, whatever you want to call it. But the point I want you to know is that every human being is possessed. You're possessed with evil in the mind and emotion. That's why you must be born again of God, return to the Father. He also talked about how the world deceives you with words and things like that. He even mentioned racism. There's no such thing as racism. He said that's a made-up word to cover up evil. He mentioned the diversity thing. And that's another thing, the world make up thing to cover up evil. And it's so true. And everybody is deceived. It's so deep. I highly recommend it. And what is it called again?
Nefarious.
Nefarious. I'm telling you, I highly recommend it. Even though it has those subtitle things, it's still clear English. But sometimes they speak so fast, those subtitles help. I must have rewind to hear the thing over about 100 times or more. It was just that deep. It was amazing. My phone was ringing, I wouldn't answer. You ever watch a movie like that? You just don't want to be interrupted. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Yes, sir.